Hello everybody, welcome back to Na Sedyanka, the channel where I talk about Bulgarian culture, history, tradition, and faith. Welcome to my little sewing room and crafts. I was very excited this week to finally get this project together, a table that I had been waiting for several years, and this was the time. So I have set up my to-be dress waiting, and I don't know when I'll get to it, but I'm excited and motivated to come up with some kind of a time and concoction. The inspiration is there. We'll see how the rest works. So I have prepared for you a rather serious topic today. I wanted to share with you a classical Bulgarian story that I believe will resonate with you guys. I think it can resonate, I wanted to say with each and every one. Okay, I'll just leave it be. We'll see how it goes. But it's a very deep one that resonates with my heart. It's a story related to basically when the song stops, love, grief, and the soul search for belonging. And for those of you who know me, you probably already know, I mentioned this in my videos, I work full-time, I'm a busy one, and this is just a hobby on the side. So I prepare my little notes and I compare and contrast as I talk. So you're welcome to this little circle of Na Sedyanka to hear my reflections today. So, like I said, this story comes from my homeland, from Bulgaria, and I believe that its ache, tenderness, and its wisdom is relatable. Every one of us can relate to it. It's a story of a village harvest, of a girl whose name is Penka, whose song stops too soon. And it's also about all of us, like yourself and of course me, and this strange, beautiful, and painful time that we all live in a time when many people shy away, especially from the discussion of grief, and tend to suppress their emotions. Grief being seen as something that we're expected to hide or rush through or carry alone. This story, I believe, invites all of us to actually slow down, to feel, to make meaning, and to remember what it actually means to be human together. And so, first, I plan to offer to offer you guys the story retold in my voice with some reflections, kind of like a shorter version, to kind of show you what it reveals about grief, love, and community. And later, I was planning to, towards the end, to read to you the translated version of this story as I've prepared it here. The original folk story is actually written by our beloved author, Elin Pelin. It's a treasure of our Bulgarian classical literature. I hope that you all find yourself somewhere inside this tale, and I hope that it speaks to your soul. And so, yes, this is the story of Penka. In a nutshell, it is the height of summer on the vast Sofia plain. Golden wheat ripples as far as the eye can see. It's harvest time, hard, hot, sacred work. From dawn till dusk, the whole village is in the fields. Old and young, men and women, all laboring beneath the burning sun. It's grueling, but not joyless, because as they work, they sing. Their songs rise like waves over the fields, thanksgiving, tradition, communion. Voices of girls and women braid together the threads of wheat. Among them is Penka, young, lively, beautiful in spirit. Her voice is strong, sweet, unmistakable. A young man, Nicola, listens for her as he works. He loves her. And her song, it lights something up in his soul. And then the song stops. A barefoot child runs through the field crying, Penka has fainted. The workers drop their sickles. They run. They gather. They hope. But it's too late. Penka has fallen, struck by the sun. Her lips are bloodied, her sickle still in her hand. A handful of wheat pressed to her chest. The field goes silent. Even the wheat seems to mourn. The next day, as the sun still blazes, but nobody harvests, they are burying Penka. Well, fine. Why does this story matter anyway? Because it's not just about a village girl, it is about all of us. Penka collapsed, and her community stopped. They noticed, they ran, they gathered, they grieved. Her song was heard and her absence was felt. And so that's a moment to pause, actually invite you, like ask yourself who notices when you collapse. Who's there? Who's there when you feel alone, tired, and dead within? So many people today are collapsing, not from sunstroke, but from burnout, from grief, from stress, from soul fatigue. But the world doesn't stop. And nobody gathers, and no one sings. We keep scrolling, we keep working, but we do it alone, often unseen, often unheard. The silence that fell over the field in Penka's story, it's the silence that many people actually live today on a daily, chronic basis. And so the reality actually is that people today are not just tired, they're spiritually exhausted. They are depleted, disconnected from family, disconnected from tradition, but above all, disconnected from themselves. Disconnected from God, the source and the creator of all, life and love itself. We don't sing while we work. We plug in headphones. We stare at screens. We don't grieve together. We cry quietly at night, hoping that no one hears. We live in a crowded city and we still feel alone. We rush for work, fulfilling duties, but we bring no spiritual food at home. In the hustle and the bustle, we lack meaning, we lack depth. Our ancestors had rhythm, however, and they had the field, they had each other, but we have lost that. And so, as you all know, my channel, I've called it Na Sedyanka because in Bulgarian language it means to sit together in a circle and to just share and talk and be. And that's why I want to speak of something that we once had in Bulgaria, this Na Sedyanka. It was the old village gathering, usually in the evenings, usually women and young people. They sat in a circle, they sang, they spun wool, they sewed, they crocheted, they embroidered. They shared food and stories. They laughed and they wept. It was not entertainment, it was medicine. It was where grief could be spoken and held. It could be spoken aloud. It had a sacred place. It was where love could grow without pretense. It was where no one was invisible. Na Sedyanka was sacred. And by the way, versions of it exist all over the world around fires, looms, porches, temples. But today we have traded circles for scrolls. Today, presence for performance is traded. Today, witnessing is exchanged in the place of likes or love or hearts. And our souls are aching for what we have forgotten. So I wanted to mention a few words about something that's even deeper than that. About love, grief, the entangled heart. What happens when the grief we carry is about love? What if we're still carrying someone who hurt us? What if we have moved on, but something in our hearts lingers? What if we have moved on, but our soul has not? So let's speak plainly here. Sometimes what we call love is actually a trauma bond. People talk about it a lot nowadays. We cling to somebody who once comforted us, even if they also hurt us. It's not really love, it's more of a survival mechanism, however. Sometimes it's entangled love, kind of full of guilt, duty, or unresolved longing. We feel responsible for the other person's healing or well being. We think that letting go is a form of betrayal. Sometimes we're afraid to even just speak our truth, to be held captive by a guilt that whispers, if I say just this one thing, it will break them. It will break them apart, and I will be left shattered and alone. But real love is free. It's clear. It honors truth and it honors boundaries. Orthodox love is not vague. It is built on kenosis. You guys can research that. It's the self-emptying in love. Not self-destruction. It's not confusion. But yeah, kenosis. It's self-emptying in ultimate love. You can love somebody and still say goodbye. You can honor a memory and still walk in peace. You can carry somebody in your heart and in your active prayer life and still belong fully to your present life. What does the Orthodox Church indeed say about love? It says that love is not a feeling, believe it or not. So many of our modern people and media might confuse us about that, but love is not a feeling. It is a way of being. We actually see that at my job in mental health as well, even though this has nothing to do with it. This channel is just a hobby. But yeah, I think it may surprise you. Love is not a feeling. Love is a way of being. The church has countless saints that teach us that kenosis is self-love, but not self-destruction. Diakonia, for example, is love in service and humility. Phronema is the mind of Christ, which discerns love from illusion. You are allowed to carry a memory and still choose peace. You're allowed to grieve and still say no to spiritual chaos. You're allowed to love and still walk away from what is distorted and not holy. As a matter of fact, the Holy Orthodox Christian Church recognizes and discerns many different types of love, and I wanted to share them with you guys. Each of them has a sacred purpose. So hear this. Agape is divine, selfless love. The highest form of love, in fact, it's unconditional, it is sacrificial, it is Christ-like. It's the love that lays down one's life for others. Agape. How about philia, brotherly friendship? This is the type of mutual loyal love between friends and spiritual companions. It's a reflection of unity in Christ and the church. In Bulgaria, this is huge. I still relish when I hear or see or get a reminiscent memory from My friends and family who hug each other, kiss each other in the cheeks, and in the Orthodox Church we do that as well. Of course, Bulgaria is an Orthodox country, so why wouldn't we? That would be philia, brotherly, sisterly, sibling-like friendship. Storge. This is the natural familial love. It's the love of parents for their children, siblings, the kin. It's warm, protective, rooted in belonging. Eros is the longing, the desiring love, but it's often misunderstood. In the Orthodox tradition, Eros is the soul's deep yearning for God. When purified, it actually becomes holy desire and spiritual union. It is the longing, like I cannot live, I cannot exist without God. None of us can, but when you feel this kind of erotic love, you know that you really have come to this discernment, to understanding of the God energy dwelling, God dwelling inside. Eleos is actually mercy, and it's the love of compassion. It's the healing love. It's love in action, mercy that sees the suffering of others and responds with tenderness and hope. The heart of the Orthodox life is mercy. And when I think of my job and when I see the people who walk into my office and I feel love, I can discern that this is eleos. This is the love of mercy, the love of compassion, the love of healing. So yeah, we have agape, we have philia, we have storge, we have eros, we have eleos, mercy. Isn't that amazing? And then, what do we do now with all this information? Well, we come back, we return. We find each other not on apps and not in chaos, but in the circle. We find each other at Na Sedyanka, or maybe we create our own Na Sedyanka. Why not? Not with costumes though, and not on spinning wheels, but with our own presence. You need a few chairs, maybe a rug, a ground, a candle, a voice, a heart willing to show up. So we gather again to sing, to grieve, to share, to belong. Penka's death was not in vain. Her village remembered her. They stopped. They wept. They honored her life. And I hope that we all may do the same. For each other, for ourselves, for all whose songs were cut short. Life is never in vain, and love is never in vain. Let us bring back the circle. Let us gather again, not to perform, but to belong. Because in the end, it is not about what we harvest that saves us, but whether we did it together. And what if, like many of us, what if you find yourself saying, well, I'm split between two worlds. How can I love what's dead while I also love what's present and living? How can I care for what's far and how can I care for what's near? I feel deeply. Is that fake? Is that betrayal? And I want to say to all of you, no, not at all. Absolutely not at all. Not at all. Let's dig deeper to uncover the truth using this story of ours. The truth is that you can love somebody and not be called to return to them. You can love yesterday and not be darkened unto your today and tomorrows. You can grieve what was and still honor what is. You can carry somebody in your heart and still walk forward with Christ in truth. We hear common social media and movies and songs brainwashing us with the message that love is without a reason. You should love without a reason. If you're reasoning, then you're not loving truly. But you know what? We hear this in movies Like, it's just movies, you guys. It's just fake. They say, I don't know why, I just love you. Songs sing that kind of stuff. And yes, sometimes that's beautiful, sure. But sometimes it's also dangerous. Because if love has no truth and no discernment and no form, then it can bypass accountability. It can excuse harm. But the Orthodox Christian love is never vague. It is full of phronema, the mind of Christ. It is built on kenosis, self emptying, and love with purpose, not with codependency. Trauma bonding is not love. It's a survival response that develops when there is a cycle of harm and reward. First, you get hurt, then comforted. And this repeats over and over and over again. First, you're made to feel responsible for somebody else's pain, and then yours is being minimized, diminished. First, you're left clinging to hope that maybe this time they'll change or choose you. And then you just linger and you linger, disappearing unto yourself, melting into this self erasure. That type of emotional dynamic does not allow you to be freely loving, actually. Instead, it forces you to manage a nervous system in crisis. It's not your fault, but it's not freedom either. Entangled love is not love either, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, and I'm going to review it here. Entangled love is actually tricky because it feels like love, but it's not. It's basically fused with guilt, duty, and unresolved wounds. So you might think, if I let go, I'm abandoning the other person. If I move forward, then I'm betraying a soul connection, a soulmate. But you basically feel as though their healing depends on you. But the truth is that love does not demand self-erasure. And love does not destroy nor annihilate. Love actually resurrects. When love has no boundaries, it becomes bondage. And so it is distorted and unreal. And if that resonates with you, I want you to know that you guys, like none of you, every one of you that's listening to this message here, you are not broken for loving. You are not fake for choosing peace. You are not unfaithful for grieving what once was. You're growing in wisdom. And wisdom is a form of love. And so, dear people, I wish that your soul find its song again. I wish that you remember the image of God that in which you were lovingly created, unique, unrepeatable, radiant, with purpose and meaning. You're not defined by your past, by the harm that you have suffered, or even by the harm that you have caused. So long that you truly care, though, so long that you truly care to repent and turn away from darkness and evil deeds. We want honesty, and truth is the only one that sets people free. So long that you follow the truth, there's always, always hope. Our losses do not mean that our story is over. Moral injury, it does not erase your belonging. Even in your brokenness, God is still weaving beauty. And you see, you still have breath. As long as you breathe, that means that you still have a purpose because you have life inside. You have life energy within you. You still have love to give, to grow, to deepen. You still have songs to sing. In joyful times as well as in grieving times. So return to the circle, return to the center, that core that is your heart. And as a matter of fact, our Orthodox Christian fathers have always spoken about this place we come here where Christ is born. Return to the one who calls you beloved. Return to the one who gives this potential, this opportunity for truth. And let him make all things new. So I appreciate your time. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this story, to my reflections. My reflections put in my scattered notes, and I hope that may you find your soul and your song. If you can talk, you can sing. If you can breathe, you can sing. If you can cry, that's a song, that's your prayer. If you can laugh, that's your prayer, that's your song. And so, for those of you who wish to hear the fullness of Penka's story, I have prepared the actual translation of the full story. So, as it's been written by our classical author, Elin, like I mentioned earlier, and it's entitled in Bulgarian language Žъtva. In translation, that means during the time of the harvest, or hard harvest. And I welcome you. Please feel free to, and welcome to tune in and enter the world of sacred grief and sacred love. It's a story that speaks beyond time, a story that reminds us of what we have lost and what still lives and what might yet be restored. So welcome. Okay. A hard harvest, or at the harvest. A busy harvest is in full swing across the vast Sofia plain. From end to end, as far as the eye can see, golden fields sway, and weary workers are seen from the break of dawn. God has sent scorching heat these days. The blue sky has drawn close over the earth, pouring out fire and blaze. Across the white plain, a hellish haze shimmers. Far away, forests and mountains look slack and tired, as if waiting for the moment when the field might suddenly burst into flames. Birds have fled far into the cool groves, and their songs are no longer heard. Only a turtle dove coos now and then from a shady pear tree, or a wood pigeon flutters its wings toward the forest in solitude. The air is heavy and stifling. The sun hangs still in the sky, fiery and merciless, yet its burning rays do not drive the hard-working villagers from the field. They reap tirelessly, stacking golden sheaves. Sweat pours from their brows, their souls grow faint, and still there is no rest. The ripe wheat cannot wait. God has blessed them richly this year, sending no hail, no locusts, no dreadful plagues to torment the already tested and suffering village souls. Instead, he gladdened them with gracious May rains and has not taken away the cherished hope of a fruitful harvest. How many words, prayerful and pure, have burst forth from the revived souls of the villagers. God helps us. Let us work. Let us work. And in this time of hard labor, under the infernal sun's blaze over the golden field, ring out songs, rising in waves to the heavens like prayers of thanksgiving. Somewhere at the edge, a chorus of young girls begins a song, youthful, free, wide like the field, sacred like love. From another village end, a different voice responds, sweetly and brightly, sending hope and strength. Levent Nicola often pauses, letting go of a heavy sheaf to listen closely. Then he smiles, uplifted, watching his old mother and little sister working together. His sister turns to him, teasing cheerfully, "Brother, can't you recognize Penka's voice?" And her round, sun-flushed young face glows with a smile. "I can hear it, but faintly. It blends with the others and fades," replies Nicola, then adds, "Mother, take a break and listen. If you can pick out Penka's voice, you'll know for sure she'll become your daughter-in-law. His old mother straightens up, smiling at him with love. And as she resumes reaping, she says, "If you can't recognize her voice, my son, how could I? Let her sing alone. Even across the sea, I'd know her." Suddenly, the chorus stops, and the field falls silent. Then, from somewhere far away, a lone voice begins, high, ringing, and trembling. It rises gently and quietly, then slowly grows in strength and flows in mighty waves over the field. Nicola drops his sheaf and claps his hands. There she is. That's her. He listens intently. And the song spreads, free and youthful, pure as a spring full of hopes and desires. It wove sweet, lovely words into garlands and sent them lovingly to somebody, somewhere. At times it fades, full of emotion. At other times it soars boldly, as if struggling with endless sorrow or a dark doubt. And triumphing, rising swiftly and proudly. Nicola couldn't hold back. He steps into the field and shouts, "Hey!" Echoing cheerful laughter answers him from the surrounding fields. The ripe wheat rustles softly and whispers something joyfully. Penka hears him from afar and sends back a playful and loving song. Over the field, like a cross in flight, hope soars and joy follows. Weary souls revive, and the field once again echoes with laughter and with songs. But then comes a barefoot child running from a distant part of the field, bringing a frightening message. Penka has collapsed from the heat. The dreadful news spreads from mouth to mouth across the entire plain. Penka has fainted from the heat. God, another sacrifice. Even a hailstorm would not have struck the heart so cruelly. The harvesters throw aside their sharp sickles and run toward her, fearful and sorrowful. God, let it be a lie. And brides and maidens, men and women, and mothers all rush to Penka's field in horror. By a golden sheaf, Penka, the beloved village girl, has fallen on her back as if struck by a bullet. A white headscarf has slipped over her forehead, shading her beautiful face. Her thick lashes are closed in death. From her half-open mouth, a stream of red blood has flowed, staining her white bosom. One hand still holding the sharp sickle, while the other tightly clutched at a handful of wheat. A sunstroke has killed the girl. Nicola rushes in, stunned and desperate, pushing through the crowd and collapsing, broken, beside her cold, lifeless body. Penka, my joy, my song. His voice chokes and sobs. And the next day, the sun still burns just as fiercely and harshly. But there are no workers in the fields, even though it was a weekday. The golden stalks spill and burn alone. The field observes a mournful holiday. They are burying Penka. The end. And so, guys, I thank you. again for staying, those of you who stayed through the rest of the story. It always chokes my throat when I think of it. It's a very deep and touching and emotional story for me, and it wouldn't surprise me if other people aren't as touched as well. In all of it, please remember that there's always hope and there is always light when people are together and when people respect each other. And whatever happens in your life, remember to carry out your song. Don't suppress your emotions. Don't suppress and try to be something or somebody else that you were never meant to be. If you need to grieve, then grieve. If you feel joy, then rejoice. But be the full image that you are created to be without a shame. Because shame is the one emotion that, when distorted, it reduces the human soul into something that it's not and was never meant to be. And so with this, I'm going to let you go. I know that today this was a deeper story, and I will continue to bring more in the future as time goes. Na Sedyanka is exactly for this, for us to sit and be. So sing your songs along, be yourself, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.